This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. This is Brother Taza Pai here with another lesson, and we're going to go into this 2nd Ezra 15, starting at verse 14, because we're in this time, all right, and tyranny is knocking at the door. We're about to see great tribulation here in Babylon, America today, and it's right at the door, all right. And I got a video that's going into prophecy that I want to share, and I just want to put it out there. You could take it with a grain of salt, all right, but if it ain't true now, and that's this video that I'm getting ready to show, if it's not true now, it will be true tomorrow. All right. So we know that these things are coming. All right. What I'm getting ready to read, and for the most part, some of it, all right, some of it is already here. So let's get into it. It says, verse 15, the 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. All right. And we see the sword. The U.S. and Israel bucking up against Iran, and that's going to send the whole world into a conflict, all right, once that happens, because you got interests that are aligned with Iran, all right, and the only interest that's aligned with the small hats, if you will, is the U.S., but because U.S. is the whore that sitteth upon the scarlet-colored beast, which is NATO and the EU, due to Article 5, if the U.S. go to help Israel and end up getting caught in the quagmire, the U.S. end up getting attacked, then NATO will have to step in, and then bam, you got the third world's woe. All right, and that's what's drawing nigh. That's the sword. The sword is in representation of war. All right, and that's what the Lord is speaking about here, for the sword and their destruction. All right, and this third this third woe is going to be a nuclear woe. All right, and the swords are going to be ICBM. Nuclear swords. All right, and that's what's going to do the most of the destruction. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. So it's going to come down to it, to where these nations are going to go at it. All right, and we know this from prophecy, and that's prophesied all throughout the scriptures. All right, but we know that in Joel 3. Let's look at Joel 3 for a second. All right, when it says, "Wake up the mighty man and prepare war." All right, this is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up, all right? Prepare war. War is being prepared. And it has been for some time now. If you've been paying attention, you've been seeing, all right, not only a, what would you call it? An advancement of weapons technology with Russia, with China. All right, they've been making great strides toward the advancement of their arsenal. All right, and at the same time, it's a reason why Russia, well, let's go through it according to the acronym. All right, BRICS. All right, Russia and China got together to form BRICS, the BRICS nations, all right, which that's an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But since then, they've been steadily growing and increasing, gaining more members because China and Russia is the winning team right now. The world is seeing that. These world leaders are seeing that. They're leaving their whore, all right, who they've lived deliciously with, according to prophecy. They're getting away from her, all right, and getting with Russia and China, which China, Babylon, Asia is partaker of the hope of Babylon or America. This is why you see, and I did a lesson yesterday about you got these Chinese illegals that have all of these marijuana farms in Oklahoma, all right? Because, and that's not all right? That was just, for that lesson, but we know that they've been buying up real estate and property, all right, buildings and whatnot, all right? So China is fulfilling that prophecy of being a partaker of the hope of this whore of Babylon, all right? But my point where I'm going, they formed that union, that block of the BRICS, all right, for financial strength. You need financial strength in a time of war, all right, because you need materials, you need weaponry, you need ammunition, you need food, clothing, all right, all of the things that go with war. It costs money. Now, China and Russia, they may have hoped for the best or had high hopes. But in the back of their mind, any wise leader would know we need to prepare just in case. All right. But, I'm going through all of that to say that China and Russia has been preparing for war at least the last decade. At least a decade. All right. Updating and upgrading missiles and missile systems, just above and beyond. If you ask me where America is, Russia, China is above and beyond. Okay? So they have been preparing. And not just them. Iran has been preparing. All right? And they say Iran's naval power is a force to be reckoned with. So these countries have been preparing for war in line with prophecy. Again, Joel chapter 3, verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. All right. So this is what's happening. They are preparing for war. And it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right. So, they're not as much as concerned about agriculture as they are with defending their countries. All right. Or, going forth with this conquest, or, because China is definitely on a conquest mission. All right. So that was the point there. Let's go back. All right, this is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, right? Because the heathen is being wakened up, and they're preparing for war. All right, and then you got the individuals, especially here in America with everything so divided. When you look across or overseas, people are galvanized against their government, against these dictators these well, shit, yeah, these dictators and these tyrants. You know, the people of these countries are standing up, coming together. They're galvanized. As opposed to when you look here in America, everybody's divided. All right. So you're going to see groups of people stand up to fight, Republicans, maybe. All right. Republicans against Democrats. For sure, you're going to see blacks against whites. All right. Moles against straights. It's just, the list goes on and on. You're going to have a lot of men getting at these women, that's for sure. It's going to be some gender discrepancies and skirmishes out there. But yeah, that's coming. This is coming. This is going to be total anarchy, confusion, and people being confounded, not knowing what the hell is going on. All right. Verse 16 says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Right. That's anarchy, lawlessness. People are going to stop listening to the so-called authorities. They're going to stop listening to the law enforcement, the judges and magistrates and stuff. People are going to take course of action in their own power. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right. And here in America, we're kept so dumbed down and so ignorant that we may be at this point right now, and not even know it for the most part. All right. Because they're saying that Canadians are being warned not to come to the U.S. because of the tyranny here. All right. Now, this is a new thing in the earth. Because people used to come to America to escape tyranny. Now, at least in Canada, they're being told, don't come. All right? And that's the video that I want to share. We'll listen to it.
Canada just warned its citizens not to travel to the United States because there's too much risk of illegal detention. Because people are being stopped at the border, they're being detained illegally, they're being fingerprinted, they're having their phones looked through. And if they don't like what's on the phone, they'll use that to detain you. People are being put in ICE detention facilities like that. I can't believe this is happening. Canada is our neighbor, our friend, our ally. Have been for a really long time, and they're just... If you're Canadian and you're seeing this, please know that they don't represent all of us. That most of us are horrified by this. I don't know what else to say. Things are happening really fast. Things are getting really bad really fast.
Now, she seems sincere, right? She could be a crisis actor. Or, she could be just putting on the front. And you say, well, Brother Tyler Powell, why you didn't vet your sources? And here's the thing, all right? We know that this has a ring of truth to it. And as I said before, if it isn't true now, it will be true, now I said tomorrow, but in the near future, all right? Now, why do I say this has a ring of truth to it? because of what happened to them truckers at the border of Canada that was protesting during the lockdowns and the shutdowns, and that they was met with tyranny when they was locked out or frozen out of their own banking accounts and didn't have access to their own money, these bankers, all right? Not the bankers, the truckers. So we know it's been some tyranny going on. There's weird things going on up in Canada and near the border. So why wouldn't they be going through people's stuff, shaking people down at the border? It only makes sense. All right, and it's in line with the times that we're living in. All right, and again, all right, we know that these things are coming. I just read about it. All right, and as she said, you know, things are happening fast, and I agree with that. Things are happening fast. All right, so there's two ways you can look at this video: that she's telling the truth and this is going on, or this is a what we call that, predictive programming. All right, and they're getting you ready for what's about to come. All right, so either it's true or she's prophesying, and it will be true, and that's the bottom line of it. I just read it out the scripture. A man should desire to go into a city and will not be able to. All right, they got ICE on the south as well as the northern borders. All right, and we are in a prison state now. We have been for a while, and that's the thing. They keep you ignorant here in America. They purposely keep you ignorant and dumbed down. All right, and a lot of people around the world know more about what's going on in America than you Americans do, especially in politics. You know how many women I hear say, "Oh, I don't get involved in politics," but I bet you ran your sorry ass up there to the polls. When did we get to where like this, where we can't discuss politics? I ain't saying who you vote for. I give a fuck less who you vote for. But issues, political issues. Why is that like taboo to speak on political issues today? You see, and this is how they pull the wool over your eyes. Because everybody's just so genius in their own little fucking bubble. All right? But then when it comes to, knowing what's going on the world stage, your average American is lost. I don't discuss politics. Well, then you shouldn't vote. Well, why did you go vote? But yeah, that's what's coming, man. And again, 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city, a man, woman, child, it doesn't matter. It says, and shall not be able. All right. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled. And the cities are troubled now because of their pride. This is coming to you courtesy of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. All right. So enjoy your tyranny and the rest of your oppression. All right. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, terror is coming to the world, especially here in America. There's going to be terror so great, all right? Men of the Lord are going to be in question. That's what the scriptures say, that the righteous shall scarcely be saved. That's what's coming. All right? These ain't fables and fairy tales. These are prophecies. And they're coming. All right? So that's that. And you see she's all sad for the Canadians, and the opinions of the government doesn't represent the opinions of the people and all of that. This is what the Lord had to say. All right. And this is Luke chapter 23, verse 28. But Yahushua turning unto them said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. All right. See, she don't even know, and that's what I'm saying. All right. You think that's limited to Canada? That's U.S. tyranny being pushed, for lack of a better term, on foreigners, which that shows that Canada is complicit in the shit. All right? Because how you going, you just going, let's say you going to visit, you in Canada, you got family in the U.S., you come to visit, they pull you over, see some shit on your phone that they don't like, and they can detain you in the U.S. as a Canadian citizen? Maybe we in that, what is the Northern American Union. Maybe we're in the Union already. Now I understand if they come over here doing something illegal, I understand, but just to detain someone for what's on their phone, man, we are in a time of tyranny, all right? And they're hiding it from you Americans, but the time is right around the corner where y'all getting ready to feel it, because I know it's coming down the pipe. And they're gonna hit you with a financial collapse, as well as, well, that's gonna be the main thing. And we may see more shutdowns. But we're here, and what y'all looking like we still, got it going on, and I feel so sorry for you Canadians and all this. Bitch, it's trouble here at home. All right? The glory days of America are done. Quit looking at this place like it's the standard of great living and all of that shit. We have become the standard of oppression, tyranny, and man, anything negative you can think of. That's America now. All right? You should be crying for help. And with that, to the next one, Shalom.